drafting. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my good friend and co-host, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing, and what are you drinking this week, my friend?
Thanks, Daniel. I'm doing okay. I'm happy this week is kind of winding down. Sunday evenings are a nice time to record with my friends. I'm drinking, apparently, my version of a hot toddy, not the real version, but mine version. And it's in a mug that says "Kind people are my kind of people." So I think it's gonna be that kind of show today.
Nothing like a little clever and endearing wordplay. Am I right?
Oh yeah, and it's like a nice rose gold pink too. So I'm feeling really good about it.
And we are delighted to be joined by this week's guest. First time on the episode. His partner in crime has been a guest twice already, including last week. We are joined by Mr. Tad Whistle of the Sin the Fields podcast. Tad, how are you doing, and what are you drinking this week?
I'm doing good, Daniel and Preston. Thank you for having me. I'm drinking a Moscow Mule.
Oh,
wow. And I'm also drinking, got a little sidecar here, an Icy Light.
Double fisting.
So, I wouldn't say that.
You've got your Moscow Mule in the appropriate container as well. You got that little copper.
Yeah, the copper mug.
Yeah.
And I'm also drinking some Bankers Club gin from an old shoe.
Wow.
Also
the appropriate
venue.
Receptacle. Yeah. Well, Tad, why don't you tell the people about the Icy Light for the uninitiated? I know you feel very passionately about this beverage.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Pittsburgh Brewing, they have a few different wonderful things that they do. They have Iron Regular, which is their, lager-style beer or whatever. I'm not hard enough to drink Iron Regular. It's for people's, uncles who have health problems, which sounds odd. It tastes like pennies to me. It tastes like licking the side of the Statue of Liberty, like in the rain.
That sounds patriotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Icy Light is this super palatable, just delicious light beer. And when they were going out of business before they got bought, and the big this is like in 2004, the big mantra was "Save Our City," like the Doors or whatever. But people used to get fucking blitzed and scream at parties, "Save Our City," and shotgun Icy Lights and stuff. So some habits you never grow out of.
I like when your unhealthy amount of drinking can overlap with you feeling like you're doing some sort of civic duty. That always hits you right in a sweet spot.
Right.
I am drinking the Proof 850. I got some grief on Twitter for not promoting local beers on this podcast.
First off, you should turn that into a sponsorship. You should not
I've been trying.
Yeah.
Preston's brother works for Sweetwater.
This is true.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gotta be. It's a layup, Preston.
That's what I've been trying to get him to, try to get on that horse.
We're estranged. I don't think it's gonna work. So.
Are you estranged?
No.
He just babysat his dog 2 weeks ago, so I hope not.
It's true.
We could talk about it. We could air out the
we could figure it
Thompson
out on the pod.
family grievances.
That's for Daniel and I's other show that we don't actually release.
All right, before this gets any more off the rails, Preston, what are we drafting this week on this podcast?
So, on this podcast, tonight we are drafting college football mascots to star in each of our own new Mortal Kombat fighting game. The winning lineup will be the fighting game that people most want to play. I think this has a chance to get weirdly off the rails. For some more specifics, if you draft, let's go with a school that's geographically near to me, like University of Georgia. They have a live bulldog that looks like it's just constantly in pain. And they also have a 6-foot-tall dude named Jeremy who dresses up in a bulldog suit. So what you actually get when you draft this school is something in the middle. You get a 6-foot-tall bulldog. So it's got the claws and it's got the teeth and things like that. And we're going to try and make our own weird humanoid Mortal Kombat characters.
Specifically, though, it has to be a non-living mascot. So you can't take Uga the bulldog because we don't want PETA knocking on our door.
No,
Wait
that dog has suffered enough.
Yeah.
Is this how this was pitched to me? Wait a second, because I'm now looking at
what are your qualms here, Ted?
I'm looking at my board.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pick some asshole that no one is going to pick.
Take
the
your time.
Akron Zip, Zippy.
I was definitely planning on taking Zippy, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Zippy was on my list.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a human-sized kangaroo. I
Kangaroo,
feel like
yeah.
that brings in a lot of like
But
boxing
is it-
elements
okay.
that'd be cool for a fighting game.
But is it a kangaroo?
Well,
Yeah,
isn't his
so
name Zippy
it's-
the kangaroo?
It's kangaroo-esque enough.
All right, I'm good.
Okay.
Also, I was trying to throw you off the scent of me drafting.
It didn't work.
So-
I'm still
so it's-
steadfast.
It's a race for Zippy now. Will he go first?
Gamesmanship.
The draft order, as determined by random.org, who I've not shouted out in the last few episodes, I have forgotten to do. Still my favorite website in the whole world, though. Preston will be first, I will be second, and then Tad will be third. And then on even rounds, the order will reverse. So Tad will draft fourth, and so on and so forth.
Before we start, I want to ask about each of our experience with like early Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, like early Sega Genesis style fighting games.
Like the arcade style fighting games.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this. My only real experience with any of those is playing, I think, at like the Chuck E. Cheese arcade games when I was real little. I don't remember which one that was. It might have been. I feel like it
There's
could have been
no
Mortal
way Chuck E.
Kombat.
Cheese had Mortal Kombat.
It could have
a
been
dude,
Mortal
like,
Kombat.
pulls
Yeah.
another guy's spine
But
out and
it
stabs
might have
him
been
with it.
like Street Fighter or
They
Tekken.
serve beer.
Well, not to kids, they don't, to my knowledge.
No. No.
I didn't get any.
They're hypocrites, is what I'm.
and then my other only experience with these type of games is the Conan O'Brien video that he did with Rob Gronkowski and Marshawn Lynch,
Yeah.
where they all played Mortal Kombat together before like the 2014 or 15 Super Bowl.
Right.
And
So
that's
you
an
have pretty
incredible
limited
video.
experience then.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think I have enough, and I have a ton of experience with college football.
I would say, I was an only child, but as such, like I didn't have someone to kick the shit out of me in video games like that.
Sure.
And also, I wasn't able to kick the shit out of a younger sibling in video games like that. So it wasn't. I was into different games. But I
Gotcha.
did get Mortal Kombat Trilogy when I was in middle school for N64, and that's the one with like all the unlocked weird characters, and they've got like the spin-off characters of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like they
Yeah.
have like a character called Rain. They have like Noob Saibot, which are these ninjas who are unidentifiable. Just like they're like a different. It's like, hey, it's Purple Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
Preston said this draft is going to be weird, and it definitely is, I think. But it's not going to be any weirder than the actual games, I don't think. I mean, if you look at the characters in these games, they're absurd. Like, how do they even come up with
Yes.
these characters? I don't know.
They've got wings coming off their back for no reason. They've got like
Yeah.
hoofs for legs or something. Yeah. So no, I'm totally on board.
All right, well, Preston.
All right,
If
well
we're all
then-
good then and on the same page, Preston, why don't you get us started?
Yeah. So just like I do every time, I've separated everything into tiers, and I'm gonna go with what seems to me like a clear number one pick as a very dynamic character, and that is Blaze the UAB Dragon, University of Alabama at Birmingham, a school near and dear to me, even though I didn't go there. It's just a human-sized dragon, indicating in the logo he can breathe limited amounts of fire. I feel like this is a really like good character to lead us off with, and not a lot of good dragon types to choose from.
No, he's going to have a great range attack with that fire. This seems like a great top pick. To push back, just so I can try to win this draft, the actual
Yeah, go for it.
Blaze costume looks extremely dopey and friendly.
Yeah,
And
it's
not at all
closer to
combative.
like it's closer to
like
like
Barney the
Puff the
Dinosaur
Magic
almost.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those like really old PBS shows where a dragon would come on the screen and try and teach you how to read. It looks much more similar to that than it does like Drogon Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
That is true, but yeah, limited
that'd be my
budget
one
at
word.
UAB over there. They can't really afford the upgraded mascot suit.
Yeah, poor UAB.
This isn't bad. I mean, yeah. So this is one of those mascots. A lot of mascots they try to toughen up.
Mhm.
Like you try to take like a goldfinch and make it look hard or whatever.
Give it like the angry eyes.
Right. This is the one they had to like soften. Like they softened
Yeah.
Blaze a
It's
lot.
true.
He has like the child eyes.
Yeah, like the anime eyes. But it seems
Yeah.
like his dragon self has got to be buried down in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, his
Let
finishing
him off
move
the
would
leash
be
a little bit.
incredible, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What do they call it in Mortal Kombat? Is this called his finishing
a
move?
finisher,
Finisher?
yeah, for sure.
Finish him.
It's a fatality.
Fatality.
That's a swipe,
That's
Preston.
the one. Fatality.
Oh,
Fatality.
cut that out, Daniel. It's a fatality.
Do
How
not
could you not
cut
know
it.
that? It's a fatality.
That's staying in.
Did you live under a rock? Damn it.
That's
Shit.
right. Finisher could be a lot of other different things.
Yeah.
We won't go down there. Okay, I kind of have tiers here, but not really. I basically just have a bunch of mascots written down on a page. This was such a weird task, but I think I am going to go following up a theme from last week's episode. Actually, I'm going to take Buzz the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. Last week I took 300 Yellow Jackets to attack Preston and Pat in the Pick 2, the rest are coming to attack you game, because the Yellow Jackets are horrible, godless, stinging killing machines, and I don't get 300 this time, but I do get one man-sized one, which seems pretty horrible to fight against and pretty fun to fight with. There is like a bee-themed character in Mortal Kombat. I don't remember her name, but
Yeah.
so yeah, this I think fits in with that theme perfectly.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
Okay.
Once Buzz stings the opponent, does he then lose the stinger from his thorax or whatever?
That doesn't happen to Yellow Jackets.
Immediately start dying.
No. Yellow Jackets can sting you forever. They don't lose their stingers like bees do.
I will say, I mean, like, the threat of a Yellow Jacket is that you don't really see it coming. It's a little small, and it's very agile. If it were huge, I feel like, okay, there's one part of this thing that can hurt me, and it's on its butt. So all I gotta do is just keep it in front of me, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a combat game, so he doesn't have like different, just standard combat moves and everything.
I'm just saying his weapon is behind him.
Jacket.
Right.
But his weapon is behind him.
No.
This is like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu thing where like he has to lure you in and make you vulnerable to actually attack you.
Project it forward. I mean, bees aren't like, they don't turn around to sting you when they sting you. So I think Buzz would be able to sting you standing up and facing you. I feel pretty confident.
Let me give you his finishing move.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. His finishing move, not his fatality, by the way.
His finisher.
Yeah, right, exactly. He hides inside a can of grape Faygo, and he stings the lip of his dazed opponent. How often does that happen at picnics? The bee gets in the pop, and you drink it, and you're like, "Oh my God, there was a fucking bee in there."
I love this cutscene because, like, the fight just stops, and his opponent is like, "Well, guess the fight's over. Let me go get my Faygo."
Into a can of grape Faygo specifically.
Dude, because it's the real fruit. It's the natural fruit flavor.
I'm
of
sold.
Faygo.
We need to get Tad in on the base level of game design here for our college football mascot combat video game. All right, Tad, it's your pick now. Back-to-back picks, actually.
Oh, sick. Okay. All right. I'm going with a mascot who hails from the city where the Steelers lost to the Cowboys in Super Bowl 30.
Wow, yeah, you took us for a ride there.
Please connect everything to Pittsburgh somehow.
I am gonna try. I'm gonna try my hardest. From Tempe, Arizona, I'm going with Sparky, the Sun Devil.
Wow.
He has a weapon.
Yeah,
the
he
trident,
comes
right?
with a free trident.
Yeah, he's got a. I think it's supposed to be a pitchfork, but they kind of jazzed it up and made it a trident. Yeah. You know, because like Satan has a pitchfork or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched a medieval fighting video where they
had
tested
Sun
the
Devils.
effect. Right, they had Sun Devil, obviously. Period, accurate. But a spear is like it's a big advantage. So when Buzz is floundering around like a fucking idiot, Sparky can keep him at bay.
Yeah.
And also, Sun Devil, there's a lot of, much like Preston's pick, I think that Sparky has a low to medium control of fire. He can't roast someone the way that a dragon can, but, he's got to have some kind of flame maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
also
can probably evoke like solar flare or something. There's a lot of fun to work with.
Exactly.
For his
Right.
fatalities, yeah.
And the other thing too is, his home board in the video game when you go like fight in Sparky's turf.
Oh man, I didn't
Yeah,
even,
so it's a
consider
bunch
that
of-
aspect. Wow.
Bunch of people getting tortured in the background, screaming, getting enemas with lava and stuff.
Well, I feel like you could do a unique combination here because Arizona State is consistently ranked as one of the top like 2 party schools in the nation. So you could have people getting tortured in the background, but they're also like having to do
Also
keg
getting drunk
stands
as
or
fuck.
something like that. Yeah, and they're like inside a frat house that's on fire, but they're having to like do continuous shots like SAE. Yeah, so I think there's a unique stage combination you can go for there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I hadn't even considered the potential for level design. That's really the next level thinking.
okay, gentlemen, I want you to fill in the blanks here
Okay.
with my
We'll try our
second
best.
pick. Clifford, the blank dog.
Look for the big red dog, baby.
He's going Western Kentucky, folks.
I know.
I'm going Western Kentucky, Big Red.
Yes.
Woo!
Big Red is a Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
He does not have a kind. He doesn't exist in the natural world.
No.
I did a little research on Big Red.
I did too.
Some idiot student like conjured him up
Yeah.
in 1979, and for whatever reason, like he must have had photos of the dean cheating on their spouse or something like that. But that's how he was able to push the Big Red agenda across the table to make this sentient red blob a reality. From the Western Kentucky website, they're quoting the guy who invented him. It couldn't be an animal. Well, they're paraphrasing him. They said it couldn't be an animal.
Who's they? Like,
And
like
Ralph,
they weren't allowed to have an animal.
the creator,
Okay.
the creator of it. The guy said it couldn't be an animal, and that he wanted to stray as far away from a hillbilly stereotype as possible.
Before we go further, I want each of us to try to describe Big Red to people
Okay.
who don't know what he looks like. Preston.
Can I start?
Yeah. You go first.
So imagine Barney the dinosaur, but all of him was red, and you took away any feature that even remotely reminded you of something you have seen before. Like no nose, no tail, barely any arms. Like just take away everything that is at all identifiable, and that's where you're at.
I've been thinking about this all day, and the best thing I could come up with was, if you remember the Oogity Boogity from Nightmare Before Christmas, and made him red.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description,
Yeah.
actually.
That's really
That
good,
is-
That's
actually.
very good. That's
Yeah.
perfect description. I was gonna say
That's-
if you took a can of cranberry sauce and just like dumped it out, and then kind of molded the top into the shape
And
of
then wished
head.
really hard for it to come alive.
yeah. yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's Big
please, sir,
Red.
I need a friend. Yeah. And your new friend. Yeah.
Okay, I want to just tell you a little bit about his attack style.
Yeah, please.
Big Red. Well, first off, Big Red is the person who plays Big Red is always like pretty athletic, and they do like crazy dance routines with Big Red that you can't do with a bulkier mascot. There's a lot of semi-cool videos on YouTube, but he comes at you like a largemouth bass or like Pac-Man, just in a
Oh
big
yeah,
gulp.
I could definitely see him being a Pac-Man type for sure.
Right, because he's he's agile, got quick feet, like a gymnast.
Are we sure?
Trapped inside?
He does not look agile to me.
I think so. I think he's like Bettis. He's
Sure.
I
He's
don't
a-
think
There's
that's
a
right.
Pittsburgh connection.
he's an agile.
We almost didn't get one for Big Red. There was.
And boy, I really took the back door to shoehorning that one together. There.
Yeah, okay. I'll buy that. For my next pick here, I'm going to take Super Frog, the TCU horned frog, who's the most athletic mascot I think you'll ever see. Somehow he's just
Yes.
like he's jacked in this jacked humanoid body with this horned frog face. Do you know horned frogs shoot blood out of their eye sockets?
Oh, that's so good.
Do you guys know
I
that?
have a lot of other facts that I wrote down because I was really hoping I would get to the TCU Horned Frogs.
Well, why don't you read them off for us?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing to me that I think is Mortal Kombat applicable. So, like, in real life, like, the horned frogs, which there are a lot of different types, they're not a whole lot bigger than, like, regular frogs. Like, you could kind of fit one if you cupped, like, two hands together.
Yeah.
And a thing that size can swallow a large rat whole entirely. So, I think if we can go with a fatality maneuver, a TCU horned frog would just completely devour,
Swallow
his
whoever he's
opponent.
fighting.
Yeah,
I love
their
that.
their mouths are huge. It's like every Wikipedia page I went to, that's pretty much what it led off with. Like, they're known for having abnormally large gullets. So there
Yeah.
you go.
And,
That's what
for
you
me,
got.
I mean, for me, it was really I was sold at the shooting blood out of your eyes. You know, I mean that's. Can you imagine?
It's gonna look great in the game. Gonna look very good on screen.
Exactly. And you know, going to the level design, I get to have like a cool desert motif back in there. You know. So yeah, I'm loving Super Frog. I actually debated taking him first, so I'm glad to get him here in the second round.
All right, so that comes back to me.
Yep, 2 straight picks
Boy.
for Preston.
I feel like this is changing a little bit, so I'm going to pass up 2 things I had in the S tier and get something I had in the A tier. Because I like the idea of getting a character that has a weapon that comes with them.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go with somebody that I'm sure Tad has a take on.
Oh, you bastard! I know
And that
exactly
is-
where you're going with this.
Purdue Pete from Purdue University with his giant sledgehammer that he always carries around with. Now, the actual mascot walks around with a legit sledgehammer, like not some sort of like foam thing that you can buy at the shop for $20 and wave it around during the game. No, a actual sledgehammer. So I'm thinking in the game you get a very like kind of steeled factory environment, and you've got this shirtless hunk of a man with this weird little top hat slinging this giant sledgehammer at you.
He also
I think
has
that's
the hard hat for and that
Yes.
chin. I mean, try
Oh,
knocking that
yeah.
guy out. I mean, that chin is going to
Could
take
cut a
you out.
diamond.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
yeah.
Man, I wanna deny the existence of Purdue Pete as a Steeler fan. Steely McBeam is such a ripoff of this dude. It's sad and pathetic.
Damn.
So
Yeah,
it's a
it's
clear
sad.
ripoff. You're saying, okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the
they
Steelers.
look like twins.
Oh,
I have never
God.
seen Steely McBeam. I'm looking up right now. Oh, yep. That seems.
And the same color scheme too, like the black and gold thing. Wow, this is depressing, and I am ashamed. I'm ashamed of the Roonies.
Steely McBeam better
Oh, shit.
name though by a lot.
You think so?
Yes, there are so
Steely
many
McBeam
Pete's. There's too many Pete's. Did you guys come across all the Pete's in
Yes.
college football mascots? I
There's
had
a lot.
3 on my list
Pistol
of
Pete.
like 16. There's also
Pistol Pete,
Pay
yeah.
Dirt Pete, the UTEP minor. Not to give away all the people I might pick here, but yeah, so many Pete's.
Wow.
Yeah, the UTEP minor is actually very similar to the Purdue Pete concept, where he's got like the big pickaxe, right?
Pickaxe, yeah. That's why
Yeah,
he's on
very
my
similar.
list.
A sledgehammer is really cool for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is perhaps maybe Peter Gabriel is super broke right now. And as a game designer, you could buy the rights to Sledgehammer and include it in the game.
And then have him come do the
Purdue
is
voiceover.
fighting.
Purdue Peter Gabriel.
Ooh.
What
The
a,
Peter
What
Gabriels.
a mashup.
Rebrand. Total
Complete
rebrand.
rebrand.
How has this not happened yet? How is this combo not a real thing in real life already?
Wow.
It's right there, Peter Gabriel.
It's
and
right
Purdue.
Purdue?
Get on the phone.
Maybe Drew Brees can broker it because I know he's really tight with Peter Gabriel.
Gotta be, right?
Drew Brees and Peter Gabriel
They've
are
got to run in
really
the same
they
circles.
They vacation together, and they're both big no mask guys, so they're actually on vacation together right now.
Don't do Peter Gabriel like that. Don't put that evil on him. He doesn't deserve that as far as we know.
As far as we know,
Drew
yeah.
Brees, totally fair game.
Yeah, that's fine. Take your pot shots.
All right, Preston, what's your next pick here?
I think I'm just gonna go with the mascot. I think I take what you guys said to heart about the UAB dragon being a little cartooned up. So I'm going to go with the mascot that if I opened my closet and just kind of saw him there staring at me, I think it would scare me the most. And I think it's because of a fear I have of this actual animal. But I'm going to go with the Florida A&M Rattlers. It is basically just a 6-foot-tall rattlesnake. The head is very, very scary. I mean, he's got huge fangs in there. But I think I'm a little worried that's too close to like the dragon I got in the first round. But it's such a like cool mascot and not like dweeby or dorky that I wanted to go ahead and snag that because there are not a lot of those.
Now, I will say that FAMU is not FBS, which I think we agreed on as our parameter.
Shit.
But if
Preston
Preston.
Swipe.
Tad is able, if Tad is willing to let this slide, I'm willing to let it slide. Because
I'm gonna let it
I did not
slide.
expect FAM to get any love, and I do love FAMU.
All right, I'm gonna let it slide as long as I can tack on. It won't be part of my draft, but I want to tack mine on at
An addendum.
Your non-FBS pick. Okay.
my non-FBS pick at the end of the program.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's important for a combat video game to have a character that you would enjoy beating up on. You know, they can't all be cool, fun characters that you want to be controlling.
Okay.
So for that reason, I'm going to take the Notre Dame Leprechaun with my third pick.
Because you hate the Irish, also.
No. No.
Irish
Well,
as
listen,
a
leprechauns,
people.
leprechauns are not real. I myself am probably like a quarter Irish. So I will defy you to find a more punchable mascot than the Notre Dame Leprechaun. I don't know why this is. Like, he's not in a real costume. Like, he's just a guy, a student at Notre Dame who dresses up. He's got like the green hat and the trousers and the vest. He just dresses, as a leprechaun. But I don't know if it's because I don't like Notre Dame or what. But I've just always hated this guy. Have always kind of wanted to fight him in real life. So now I'm able to do it in my fake fighting video game.
I
like
agree
it.
with the concept of having someone who everyone wants to fight, and then only the like contrarian friend.
Yeah.
That's like what their go-to thing because they like are a hater and an instigator, so that they have a character. I like the concept.
Now that I have my heel, my villain character, which I think is crucial for a game like this, it is now Tad's pick once again with two more back-to-back selections.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to pose you, gentlemen, a question. Who kicked the most ass in Lord of the Rings?
Ooh. I mean, it's Samwise Gamgee.
All right.
But I have a feeling you're going to go in a different direction.
That was really terrible. And I can't believe we even heard you out on that. So I have no one but myself to blame.
Yeah.
That was like some meta, like Lord of the Rings, 500 posts deep on Reddit fucking answer.
I don't know. I don't know the correct answer here. Aragorn, Legolas. I really don't know.
It was the Ents, the fucking tree people. And as such,
Now I see where you're going.
yeah.
And
We
as
all see.
such-
We all see.
I am going with the Stanford tree.
The dumbest mascot in all of sports.
Okay,
I
think
don't
about
know
it
that
like
I would
this.
say that.
What's
Yeah, I
dumber?
would say that.
The Syracuse Orange.
No, come on. That
Nah,
kind of
for
makes
sure.
sense. They are the Syracuse
Does it?
Orange. Yes.
Why? Why are they the Syracuse
Yeah.
Orange, Dan?
Are oranges native to that part of New York?
No, listen, I don't think the Syracuse Orange is really an orange, the fruit. I think he's just an orange ball. He looks very little like an orange.
The fact that you have to explain it is proving me my point.
No, come on.
First the Irish,
Yeah,
now the native people.
listen, no, you can't give me a hard time
Of
for that.
New
I am
York.
from Florida and live in Florida.
I'm sorry.
The actual place
Okay.
where oranges are from.
All right. I want, in much the same way that you just chose a person, a mascot who is universally hated.
Okay, that is fair.
But
you
by
came
people
in
that
here.
didn't go there.
You came in here touting him as the most ass-kicking character in all of Lord of the Rings.
This is the character for the younger sibling. Okay, so you're an ad executive You're on the sales end of video game design. You're in the meeting with the idiot programmers you don't know how to reach, and you're like, listen, guys, we need something. We're marketing this game for teenagers, and maybe we've got it all wrong. Because here's what's going to happen. Mom and Dad, they're going to throw the younger brother, the younger sister into that room with them. They're going to slam the door so they can get drunk and play bridge and smoke cigarettes just like everybody else. Am I right? And like, that is not my life experience in any way. And it's like, shut up. You don't know anything, you nerd. And what that younger sibling is going to want to play as is a asinine tree. Something that's totally unlike all the other humanoid characters that have been drafted thus far.
I'm gonna get a little bit into the weeds here, no pun intended, and say that you've got a balancing issue on your hands because you have a character that can control fire and a tree that would be presumably highly flammable. So
the tree is still alive. A dry tree, very flammable.
Everyone
But a tree
knows
that holds
a living
its
tree
sap.
has never caught fire.
it's
That's
true.
never happened.
Never
That's
happened.
correct.
Not once.
It hasn't happened. I mean, this is okay. I want you to imagine the Stanford tree not as a Mortal Kombat style character, which I know is the premise of the whole thing, but as a Tekken style character, like the tree
that
doing
changes
the
everything.
tree doing capoeira, like fucking Eddie from Tekken, and using that long reach to back people up, maybe like a little Street Fighter fucking Dalsim Hadouken, keeps people
A little more
on their
supernatural.
heels. And then finally, the last thing I'll say about the Stanford tree is in doing my research, in beating the bushes the way a true newsman would, I texted Cody Mills and said, hey, about how tall do you think the Stanford tree is, like in the mascot suit? And he wrote back, he said, about 8 feet. And I said, thanks,
Not
Cody.
a chance. You tell me there's an 8-foot man in the Stanford tree.
No,
It doesn't have to be an
the
8-foot man, but the mascot suit
costume is
extends.
8 feet tall, which is going to make him the tallest. Well,
Probably the
whatever.
tallest character in the game.
if you don't get it, you have no imagination, and I feel sorry for you. On to my
Who
next
hurt you?
pick.
Who hurt you?
On to my next pick. In much the same way that Preston drafted the giant rattlesnake, it's important to think about what is like the thing that you wouldn't want to fight if you had to fight this thing.
Mhm.
And for me, as much as I hate snakes, which is a lot, I'm going with Sammy the Banana Slug
Okay.
from UC Santa Cruz. Slugs are disgusting. In much the same way Prentice feels about most people in the Irish, I feel like snail. Like a snail. Like, wow, has a shell. It's got its little house. This is adorable. And then I'm like, slugs are gross and they shouldn't exist.
So, what are the combat elements of this banana slug? Also,
Okay, so
if you know, I would love to know the difference between a banana slug and a regular slug.
Banana
banana
slugs
slugs are huge. Huge. They're like the size of a banana. Like actually
enormous.
maybe
Oh
bigger
shit!
than
Really?
a banana.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so they're terrifying not as a jacked humanoid slug. They're already sick and disgusting. So what does Sammy have? Mucus. And a lot of it.
Say no more.
A lot.
So maybe he in much the same way that Sub-Zero could freeze the ground in front of you, he creates a snail trail. Causing
Why did you say that like that?
did I say it weird?
You said it like a late night
Yeah.
sex.
Give me
Really?
Give me
Help
one
guy
more.
on the
Give me
radio,
one more
yes.
take on snail trail. One more take on snail
on snail.
trail.
I'm pretty sure I say it the way everyone says it.
Go ahead, just one more time.
Snail trail. That's how it. I don't think I did anything different there. I said it the way it's supposed to be said.
No, you're right. You're right.
So maybe he sets up a snail trail in front of his combatant, his enemy combatant, and they slip. Maybe he loogies in your face.
The horror.
Maybe his finishing move is that he works at a restaurant you just ordered food from, and he blows his nose in your sandwich's bread. I don't know. He's got a lot of mucus, and he needs to get rid of it.
All right, I'm on board. I'm convinced.
I, for one, am not convinced, but we will move on.
Slugs have no moral compass.
That is universally known, I think.
Right. This is the dirtiest fighter in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's very fair. Geez, I could go so many ways here. How do we feel about tag team partners if it's a dual mascot situation?
Boy, are we really fucking changing the rules?
I'm asking a question here. I'll take one of them.
They can't both be fighting at the same time, but you could use them as like
tag team.
playable
Tag
characters.
team, yeah.
Sure.
Or like a skin.
Sure, whatever gives you a way to draft two people instead of one person. Yeah,
sure. Whatever lets you break
great.
the rules and not have us yell at you. For sure.
So in that case, I'm going to take Albert and Alberta, the alligators, the Florida mascots.
Now, how much does this hurt you as an FSU fan?
It does pain me, I will say. I really do not like any Florida athletics team, but. I just feel like objectively they're great mascots. They're definitely iconic. I love that they're a couple. There are not enough female mascots in my opinion.
Traditional alligator marriage is what you believe in, Dan?
We don't know that they're married. We do not know that they're married. They could have some sort of union,
Traditional unions are between an alligator male and one alligator female.
Dan, I'm going to tell you this right now. They were on my board. So... I think that's a good pick.
Thank you, Ted.
But what you need to do when you take Albert the alligator and then in parentheses also Alberta, because of the tag team thing, there needs to be some kind of distinction. You need to do two things. Albert needs to be a straight kind of like an obvious ripoff to become Bowser in a fighting game. You know what I mean? Like it's clear you're swagger jacking Bowser. For some of these picks, I tried to imagine them in a go-kart. Like how would they look in a go-kart? Would it work in a go-kart?
Potential branding opportunities.
Albert and Albert definitely work. All right, Preston, you've got back-to-back picks now.
Okay. Well, similar to how Daniel was saying, every video game or every combat game needs a bad guy. I feel like I have a couple that could slot into the bad guys. I've got the dragon and the snake and things like that. So I think I'm going to go for like the pure-hearted good guy. I'm going to go for the guy that like the kids are going to dress up for as Halloween because they know he's like the thing fighting off all the monsters. So I'm going to go from Toledo, Rocky the Rocket, who basically is just a Power Ranger. All he is a guy with like a blue painted motorcycle helmet and a massive six-pack. And he just looks like he would be a nice, like, speedster sort of Captain Falcon-looking dude that I think kind of lifts the morale of my game up a little bit.
I like it because you could get you could get NASA, like, refunded with this pick.
Right.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking up the images of this person, they have a helmet. Head protection is important. They appear to have a flame retardant suit, which is good. But I don't know. Like, give me run me through some of.
That's
the
what I'm saying. I think
here.
he's a Power Ranger. I think he's like he appeals to like the vigilante crime fighter in us, as opposed to just being like a monster. Like I'm gonna have so many like animal type things. Like having a human type thing is pretty great. And I realize that I do have Purdue Pete. But he's very scary, so I'm still putting him in the bad category because no good guy walks around with a sledgehammer.
So for Rocky the Rocket, though, I think you're going to need to implement vehicles a little bit. Like you said, Captain Falcon, like his finishing move in Smash Brothers is like all the race cars, I think, right?
Yeah, like for stage-wise, like I'm a big Super Smash Bros. Guy. And the Captain Falcon stage in Super Smash Bros., you're jumping from car to car. Like I see this as being like a cool opportunity for that. So
yeah, that's fair.
I just wanted something that was like positive, right? Like he's not a monster. He's a guy that put on a suit and is ripped. That's it.
Fair enough.
So, okay, I've got another pick here.
Yeah, following up Rocky the Rocket, who's not a rocket at all, but is actually a man who looks like he might ride a rocket. But nevertheless.
Right, yes. Not a rocket. He's just a Power Ranger. So, back into the kind of badass, like, humanoid animal category, and take Bucky the Badger from Wisconsin. Now I'm imagining in an ideal world that this is a honey badger, which we discussed in depth on last week's episode.
It's definitely not.
Ferociousness. It's definitely not. But if it were, though, ooh. It's definitely not. But still, badgers are pretty pesky in their own right.
Yeah, Bucky the Badger seems good. I don't think it's fair for you to get a honey badger, Preston, because it's clearly a North American badger, like a badger you'd find in Wisconsin, the Badger State. But they're still, fierce.
They're still feisty
creatures.
Little
And if you get a human size one, I mean, it's
people are going to infer though that it is a honey badger. Like,
it's true.
People are going to
stamping it now. Nipping it in the bud.
No, but like,
no.
You can't control what the consumers. Yeah. They're going to be like, I play with Bucky the Badger because I am the fucking honey badger. And it's also
Dad, you want to win this vote,
Yahoo
don't you?
email account.
Why are you helping Preston out like that?
I thought there was something called sportsmanship. Yeah. I thought there was something called honor.
Okay, so for my pick here, my second to last pick, I'm going to take a pick that I think Preston made a mistake in not selecting, considering what his first pick was. I am going to take Nitro, the UCF Golden Knight, who is the perfect foil for Blaze the Dragon, but is just a great combat character in general. He does have a sword. I spent lots of time researching pictures because there are lots of pictures he does not have a sword. And I did not want to take a knight without a sword, but he does in fact have a sword. He's got a sweet, super cool face mask, as part of his helmet. Like there are a lot of, I think kind of similar, like medieval style combat characters, but none had the cool face mask like Nitro has. He also seems to be a giant. I mean, he has like a huge head.
He is huge.
Definitely your above average sized human male. And he's a knight, so that seems pretty cool for adding a little variety to my team and just being a sweet combat character. So taking knight.
Yeah, I thought about the Michigan State Spartan for this, but the UCF Knight is kind of clearly better.
Yeah.
The thing I like about this, Dan, is when we're talking about gimmicks and as a player what you want, every time you pick the UCF Knight, regardless of how true or untrue it is, you can say, never lost.
National champs, baby.
National champs, never lost. And it's like you just got dogged in a game and you're like, never lost. Never lost.
Okay, so Tad, you are up with your final two picks, sir. How are you going to round out your Mortal Kombat Tekken lineup here?
Picks. Well, I don't really have a pick that has a lot of accessories outside of Sparky the Sun Devil and his pitchfork. With that in mind, I'm going to take, from Texas Tech, the Masked Raider.
Ooh.
Great name.
Very cool.
Yeah, so basically this is Zorro on a horse. That's pretty much it, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, what more do you need?
Nothing. I need nothing.
I actually just pulled up the Google images, and there's not a single picture of this mascot not on the horse. So it does seem like you would get the horse. It seems like
at least for some fatality type moves. At least.
Yes.
Right. You bring the horse in. It's like the end of the match. It's like, all right, bring the horse out. Get the horse out here. And I know this is going to increase overhead because stabling a horse is, even in the video game world, it's not cheap.
Is that true?
It's not cheap.
I did not know that it works like that.
I mean, so basically this is your standard Zorro ripoff. So I'm going with the Masked Raider for that pick.
I think that's cool. What a cool mascot.
All right, Tad. What's your final pick here, friend?
All right. So we just had the Masked Raider. My final pick here, from Coastal Carolina, Chauncey the Chanticleer.
What?
He is a svelte rooster, fucking cut up. Even by mascot standards, this dude is jacked. Not Sparty jacked, but mobile. Kind of like a middleweight fighter. Has the terrifying... it's like, could you fight a human-sized chicken and win? Maybe. Could you fight a human-sized chicken with human arms and human legs? Probably not. can't imagine that you could. Also, this is where we would open the door to like a lot of Foghorn Leghorn shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like when he is roasted by the fatality of another person or the special move, you know, he like is burnt toast and like has one feather left or something like that.
I love that.
Does Coastal
Yeah, I love
Carolina even have a football team?
that.
That's a really good question.
Yes, they do.
Conference
So I
games,
have
actually.
2 things to say about this one. He rides a motorcycle onto the field.
Which is hard.
Very cool. Super cool. And he also wears what are very obviously just like sneakers, which a lot of mascots don't do. So I think he's probably somewhere in his evolution to becoming full human, because as Tad said, he has like super jacked arms too. So just think that's an interesting note that he has laced up sneakers as part of his suit.
Gotta protect the feet.
Yeah, and he has he's got like a little bit of featherage, so I'm thinking maybe like as an attack style, you know, it's one of those things where he like flutters in really quick and you can't do anything to stop it. If you don't block it, you're going to be dazed for a second and then he gets to uppercut you or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, big
but
combo heavy fighter, yeah.
Also, I mean, the motorcycle is hardcore. Yeah, this is one of those schools that, I don't know, if you're not from Atlanta or from Florida, you're like from any place where it snows all the time, you're like, I should go there. And then you realize
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
like,
totally unfeasible. It's like not at all possible.
Okay. We're now in the last round, thanks to Chauncey the Chanticleer. And so this is my final pick. And I am a little surprised that this character has lasted this long. We discussed the multiple Petes before. I am going to take, I think, maybe the most horrifying humanoid mascot in all of college football, Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State. He just has a horrifying face because he has, it's like, how like old dolls had that look that are like, well, they look just human enough to be creepy as hell, but not human enough to like actually look like a human being. You know what I mean? So he's got that kind of look going on. It's like, it's a little unsettling. But importantly, he's got 2 revolvers and has a ridiculous orange hat and is just a cowboy, essentially, Think like Yosemite Sam type, without the cool facial hair, unfortunately.
What I respect about this pick, Daniel, is for Pistol Pete to obtain, well, he also has a rifle. Mm-hmm. For him to obtain 2 pistols and a rifle in the state of Oklahoma, he clearly went through the 30-minute waiting period. You know what I mean? So
that's actually
due process. They
were just shipped to him when he changed his residency from wherever he moved from. Upon arriving to Oklahoma, they said, "Welcome to our beautiful state. Here are your 2 revolvers and rifle.
Here are your guns.
Wear them proudly."
We don't have any.
And here's your badge to conduct whatever business you see fit.
He kind of looks like Burt Reynolds.
He does. He does.
Yeah, I get
Rest
that.
in peace.
But I'm with you, Dan. Like a weirdly like static face.
It's creepy.
It's weird to have a mascot face
straight
that's
up
like
creepy.
Expressionless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very.
It's like
very
like
creepy.
well, if you actually like stare into his face for a little while, it'll haunt your nightmares for sure.
This is the only reason I'm not with the guns, but this is the only reason I'm with the pick is that he has like a terrifying porcelain doll face.
Exactly.
That could be like the love interest of the doll that kills children in a movie.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, Preston, you are now up here with the final pick of the draft.
Okay, so for the last pick here, I'm really just I'm gonna make this pick for the people that go to the big schools. They will recognize this pick. They won't listen to the episode. They'll see it and they'll vote for me. But I'm tired of losing.
Listen to the episode, please.
I want you to listen to the episode.
If you're already listening, please listen to the episode.
Yeah, if you're already listening, please continue listening. Don't stop now. But I'm tired of losing these votes. I'm just going to go with a big popular pick. I also like mascots that bring some sort of weaponry to the table. I'm going to take the UNC Tar Heel with those huge horns. Tad, stop making inappropriate gestures on our audio medium.
I was fake jerking off for you folks at home because that's how I feel. That said, I mean, Well, I mean, you set it up the right way, Preston. You're trying to appeal.
It's
to...
true. Listen, I don't expect you guys to have anything to say about it because there are a million things like it. I probably could have found something better, but I'm trying to get a big name character in, right? Right? This is like when you're drafting up your Mortal Kombat and then it was like Mortal Kombat plus DLC includes Darth Vader. You're like, oh shit. They're going outside the universe, right? And they're getting that big name to bring people from outside the fandom into the fandom. That's what I'm doing by taking the UNC tour. I don't like it any more than you do, trust me.
You're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you just signed Tom Brady at age 87.
Absolutely.
That's fair. Ramses, is that his name?
Yeah, it's
I
Ramses.
think that's right, yeah.
Pretty sweet name for a Ram mascot, I have to say.
Absolutely.
But I will say, I mean, Preston, again, selling out his alma mater and throwing away an opportunity to draft
Can I explain why?
his own
Will you
team.
give me an opportunity? Will you give me an opportunity to explain why,
please,
just real quick?
Please.
Okay, so his name is Big Al, and he's an elephant. One of his shticks is that he runs into the football stadium and he grabs his waist and he wiggles it around. He is
a mating ritual.
Extremely overweight. He does not seem athletic. He does not do flips. He does not do push-ups. He just runs to a group of people and then waves his big belly around and then runs to another group of people. So no, it's just not for this moment. I love him like I love somebody, in my own family. But no, not for this.
All right, that's fair. Okay, so with that, the college football mascot as combat video game characters draft is in the books. The teams are: Preston has Blaze the Dragon from UAB, Purdue Pete, the Florida A&M Rattlesnake, Rocky the Rocket from Toledo, Bucky the Badger, and Ramses from University of North Carolina. I have Buzz the Yellow Jacket from Georgia Tech, Super Frog from TCU, the Leprechaun from Notre Dame, Albert and Alberta, the Alligators from the University of Florida, Nitro, the UCF Knight, and Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State. And Tad has Sparky the Sun Devil from Arizona State, Big Red from Western Kentucky, the Stanford Tree, Sammy the Banana Slug, the Masked Raider from Texas Tech, and Chauncey the Chanticleer. So much more to discuss after the break. We'll be right back to do just that. Okay, so we're back, and the first thing I wanted to ask you guys, as I do with most episodes, what mascot did you kind of in your mind want to pick, before the draft started, but in the moment didn't exactly pan out for you to be able to get him on your team here?
I know my answer's not as good as Preston's, so I'll go first. I couldn't do this for religious reasons. But I'll say this. The Penn State Nittany Lion, the costume design is so terrible.
He's a preppy little weird looking thing.
Yeah, as I couldn't do it because the costume is so JV and like clearly made by someone's disinterested parent who's trying to get their child to shut up.
Yeah.
But now it's tradition, so they just keep it going.
Right, like it's like today it's a onesie that's like shittily. Oh, it's a onesie that you would buy on Amazon and immediately send back.
Right.
Dang.
So with that in mind, the character is just a human dressed as a Nittany Lion.
What even is a Nittany Lion? It's like not a real thing.
Yeah, there's some Mount Nittany bullshit in there. I mean, I think that there used to be mountain lions in Pennsylvania. What?
Hey, we don't need to look it up.
A Nittany lion. No, there was a reason for it. God, it's so bad, and they tried to church it up with a scarf at one point.
I think it still wears the scarf.
That probably. No, it wears the scarf, but it's like it wears the scarf as an accessory to cover some of the flaws in the stitching. It sucks, and it's so ridiculous. It's like in a wrestling video game where they like throw in someone totally random,
Just an
for
absolute
no reason.
scrubbo.
Yeah, or someone that is just like a figure without any costume or design that was created by, some.
It was the user-created character.
Right, exactly. So that was going to be one that I could throw in there, but like I honestly could not look anyone in my family in the face if I were to have selected.
They all listen to the show, I'm sure. All right, Preston, what about you?
100%.
Well, there were a lot of non-FBS ones that I was looking at because every like BuzzFeed top 20 weirdest mascots list or whatever always went into FBS territory.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites was the Wheaton University Mastodon, which as far as I can tell is the only mascot suit that needs to be operated by multiple people. It is quite large. It's about the size of like a adolescent elephant or something, like a mid-sized elephant. It is absolutely huge. I'm not even totally sure it can move with the amount of people that stand in it. But anyways, it is bigger and more complicated than any of the other mascot suits I found, so I wanted to grab it. But
would have been fun.
Alas, I could not. Yeah.
For me,
would have been fun if we had any sort of creative indication on this podcast. But alas, we
Jesus
don't. Daniel
Christ.
likes to stamp me
oh my
down.
God!
Baby.
Listen, we try to agree on the rules here, so we're all drafted from the same pool, and then Preston tries to break them every episode. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it.
I mean,
It's true.
I do like Preston's idea of taking like the two fuck-ups from kindergarten who play the donkey in a play. Or
There's
like a
one
horse,
student in the butt and one student in the front.
right, of totally opposite heights that make it look impossible to exist. Yeah. And
it would be a fun, innovative video game thing to have two people controlling the same combat character. I don't know how that would work, but it would be fun to try. For me, there were some like silly ones I kind of wanted to get in there. Otto the Orange, I think would be really fun to pummel. I think just in real life, and probably the closest I would ever get to that is a video game version. That's the category that I had Big Red the Hilltopper in. To be quite honest with you,
Big Red is a great character. Big Red is he and Sparky the Sun Devil are gonna make.
They're your cover characters.
Yeah,
he looks
100%.
like a McDonald's mascot that wasn't finished.
Yeah.
They started
his
making
Grimace's-
one, and they're like, "Yeah,
Right, this
like,
is Grimace's
maybe he
cousin."
could be Beef Guy," and then they just kind of gave up on it and never went back.
Okay, we're gonna start selling uncooked beef. We need everyone to come up with a mascot, a character in McDonald's lore for uncooked.
Someone to
a
represent
mound
raw
of
meat.
uncooked beef. What do we got?
Well, that sets me up perfectly for my next question, which is, what was the worst pick of the draft, Preston?
I don't think it was Big
No,
Red.
I don't think
I
so.
actually-
that was my favorite.
Big Red
pick
was on my
of
list.
maybe any draft in the history of the show.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think it was. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it wasn't the Stanford tree.
I disagree.
I can see where Tad was going there. I am gonna say, however, it was the banana slug because that I don't understand. I still do not understand what's happening there.
The mucus.
Banana slugs.
The mucus, Preston.
The mucus. They're
Of course.
disgusting.
I
They're
mean, listen,
sick.
do I want one in my house? No, but like, I'm not sure what kind of an action a giant slug brings to the game.
Right. So you're applying the same logic that Prentice applied to the Irish, basically. To me, the worst pick in the draft, 100%, was Prentice taking the Notre Dame Leprechaun. Number one, because it is so clearly just a student. Like, there is no anonymity. Like, I took the Masked Rider, which is a student, but like,
There's a mask.
there's a mask, and they're on a horse.
He's
They're,
gonna have
you're
leprechaun
distracted.
powers. He's gonna be have magic and rainbows and stuff.
I like the idea of beating up on Notre Dame because fuck Notre Dame, but also we're playing a video game. A banana slug is easily interpreted and digested through the suspension of disbelief that comes with playing a video game.
I guess.
Whereas the best way you could have dicked Notre Dame was to give them no mention at all, which was
Ooh,
what I'd
fair
planned
point.
to do. So you put Notre Dame on the map yet again.
Mm-hmm.
You let them not choose a conference
They're
again.
in the ACC in every sport but football, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, that's stupid.
So now you're a Notre Dame apologist.
Damn it! I've fallen into the trap. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you hate on the Leprechaun pick. I think people are going to love the Leprechaun pick. I really do. People love to hate Notre Dame, and maybe it would be a better slight in the meta to not mention them at all. But I think people are going to relish the opportunity to beat the crap out of the Notre Dame Leprechaun and beat up his smug face.
Your friend that everyone hates in competition. Everyone has that friend where it's like you can't play a game with Steve because Steve's a dick when you start playing the game. You have tailor-made a character for them where they can be the bad guy, and I don't support it.
Well, it's like the opposite of Odd Job. Like everybody wants to come in and pick Odd Job. You picked the anti-Odd Job, where you give the Leprechaun to the best player that you've got in the household, so that you guys finally have a chance.
For me, I think the worst pick was the Stanford tree. The banana slug, I do think you could do some funny things with. Like, it's ridiculous, but I think that was intentional. I don't think there's anything redeemable at the Stanford tree. The Stanford tree is a garbage mascot. I don't care that it's 8 feet tall. You can sell it as being an ent all you want. It's not. It's a stupid-ass tree with a stupid-ass face that participates in the weirdest, dumbest marching band in all of college football. And I know Stanford, gets their jollies. Like, oh, everyone says that we're weird and bad. Isn't that great? No.
Imagine for a second the Stanford tree in a go-kart in the second iteration
Damn it, I'm sold. You brought me right back
of the fighting game.
The best pick
Right.
Mortal Kombat carts.
You can't even see the board because the Stanford tree is so big it blocks up all of your vision.
He's right. Okay, final question of the show. Which video game do you guys most want to play? Which lineup? And remember, if you pick your own, you have to pick a runner-up here.
Is none of them an option?
Which
I'm
game?
just gonna be
which
honest,
game gets
guys.
your quarter in the arcade?
I don't think any of us have done a great job, but
I disagree.
I really think my favorite pick of the draft in terms of what we're actually trying to do, which is decide what game to play, was Dan snagging the UCF Knight.
Oh, really?
And I think that may have won me over to Dan's side. The fact that he has a sword and stuff too, it's like a built-in character, right? You don't have to do a lot of game design.
Right.
It's kind of already there. Except I really, really find UCF very frustrating and annoying. So I'm gonna go with my team. I think my team yet again has won it for my own self.
Okay, I'm gonna take. Man, I did have Albert and Alberta. Well, I had Albert on my team. I didn't have Alberta on the team because I didn't know if that was legal or not. I think one thing, I think that's a great pick, but to have them both in the game as a co-op thing is to have two small characters who are ineffective as a whole character, which gets
It's like
annoying.
the ice climbers in Smash for all
Right.
of those 3 people who get that joke.
Yeah, it's weird and it could be cumbersome, man. So I guess I'm gonna take Preston's team. I really, as much as I think that this stuff is played out, I like the dragon idea, but from more of a what was that dragon's name? Spyro.
Spyro. Yeah.
Spyro. Yeah, from a Spyro the Dragon standpoint, I like the idea of playing as a dragon who's not overpowering in the way that dragons have been presented as of late and the recency bias with Game of Thrones. But similarly, I think knights are played out, and I would never play as the knight. I would hate the knight. I think that was my least favorite pick because it's the least identifiable to me. I could never see myself outside of the joke of saying never lost, which would be super, super fun. I wouldn't do that, so I'm going to have to go with Preston's team.
Over your own team.
I mean, I'm not the kind of person, I don't vote for myself. I don't pick my
That's
own.
fair.
Tad is notoriously selfless.
I don't think that's true, but I'm just not. I'm not gonna come on a podcast, pick a team of weird characters, and then vote for myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I usually do. So.
Yeah, I think Preston has not voted for himself once. I think.
Okay, but did the votes bear that out though?
No.
Did the public opinion? No. Okay.
Sorry, Preston.
Insta no by Prentice right there.
I think my Super Frog pick is my personal favorite pick. I just think that would be so much fun. Like, you could do so much with the Super Frog combat guy. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be that guy and pick my own team. I really try not to do that. I try not to. I fall second place. That's tough. I think Tad is where I go second place, even though I hate the Stanford Tree and the Banana Slug. I really like the Sparky the Sun Devil. And the Purdue Pete pick, I wasn't as on board with as the two of you guys.
Oh my god.
I don't love Purdue Pete. You know, I don't know. His face weirds me out. But both you guys are close. I think.
And yet the Oklahoma State guy,
Right, which is
have
the
taken.
crux. Which is the crux of your pitch.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like
With Pistol
it's
Pete.
weird, but not weird enough. You know, Pistol Pete like
Disagree.
bridges the.
I think it's plenty weird.
I mean, I don't love it, but I think I'm taking Tad second. Nope. Am I gonna flip flop here? No, I'm taking Tad second. I'm sorry, Preston. It is very close though. I really could go either way there.
So dramatic.
But anyway, Tad,
Yeah.
thanks so much for coming on, man. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, this was super fun, fellas. I thought for a second Preston was taking his headphones off
Just
to like
walk-
leave
just
immediately,
walk-
but he was just
I'm so
adjusting
over
them.
this.
We
Right.
have been recording
so
for
over it.
quite a long time.
Yeah. No, this was super fun, guys. I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to fucking you up as the noobs you are in my version of the game.
Yeah, we'll have
That's
to see.
fair.
We'll have
Totally
to
fair.
throw it over as always to the Twitter vote. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at DraftedPod and vote for the winner of this week's episode. You can hit us up there for ideas for future episodes. You can hit us also at draftedpod@gmail.com and like us on Facebook. We are at facebook.com/draftedpod. Preston, I hope you have had fun once again, my friend.
As always, I didn't mean any of it, Dan.
No, Preston and I, we're like both too sensitive to do this show. I get so upset when people don't vote for my thing in the Twitter. I'm like, God damn it, why are people voting for
losing
me?
these votes is actually taken
brutal.
its toll over the last
We're
couple
both too
weeks.
sensitive to be doing this. But we appreciate you as always for listening. We will talk to you guys again next week.